Good morning Year 9s and welcome to a demonstration on how to create a prototype for our maze design. So by the end of this video, at the end of 2 lessons, you will have created something like this. Now before we start, we need to grab the appropriate equipment. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to grab a piece of cardboard, about A4 size, a glue stick, or tape or anything that you can stick your materials together, pair of scissors, doesn't have to be this big, an eraser, a ruler, I've got a steel rule, but a ruler that's at least 150mm long, yeah, so this is not appropriate, that's too short, and a pencil. Okay, so pause the audio now and grab these items, as well as an initial idea that you want to recreate. Right, so the first thing that we want to do is create our square base. Okay, the first thing we want to do is create our square base. Now because we're creating a prototype, that means we're going to create it to life size, so real size. A base of the maze that we're going to do is 100mm by 100mm. So on your ruler, you'll either have a millimeters, where it'll be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, etc. Or you'll have centimeters, where it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to be talking about millimeters, so it'll be in the tens and hundreds. But if you've got a centimeter ruler, then just remove a 0 and that will be the correct dimension. So, first things first, when we start to mark out our square, we need to start from 0. So on a steel rule, which you've probably used in school, you know that 0 starts at the bottom of the ruler. However, most of you will be using plastic rulers. On these, 0 starts about 5mm in. So you have the edge of the ruler, and then the very first line will be your 0. Sometimes it's marked, sometimes it's not. Remember that every measurement starts at 0. Okay, so I want you to choose the 2 straightest lines on your piece of cardboard. And then, from the edge, we're going to measure 100mm or 10 centimeters. So line it up with the cardboard, 0 at the edge, go right along the cardboard. I'm just going to draw a line because mine's not straight, and do 100mm. Okay, you're going to make a little mark at 100mm. You're then going to go down the other side of your piece of cardboard and you're going to measure another 100mm. So line up the 100 and then mark at 0. Yep, so now I've got my 2 points. Next, you're going to mark the third side of your square. So 0 at the mark, count down to 100mm and make a mark there. We're then going to check the alignment to make sure that that is 100mm from there. Okay, now we're going to draw our lines. So if you've used the edge of your cardboard and they're straight enough, you only have to draw 2 lines. The reason we do it on the edge also helps to save wastage. If we use the edge, it means rather than the middle of the square, if we use the middle of the cardboard rather than the edge of the cardboard, we would waste cardboard. By doing it at the edge, we've still got all of this left to play with. So now that you've got your marks out, you can now join your lines together with a pencil and ruler until you've got your 100 by 100mm square. Like so. Oh, where's the camera? Yeah, so I've got my 100 by 100 mil square. Now that I've done that, I'm now going to cut it out using my scissors. Be careful not to accidentally cut yourself. Okay, so I've cut out my square. It's 100 by 100 millimeters, and I'm ready to move on to the next step. So, you still need a steel rule or your ruler and a pencil. Now we're going to mark out the grid. So the grid is similar to our initial designs, and it shows us where everything was laying in our initial ideas. So each grid is 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose one side of the square, we're going to line up 0, and we're going to mark, just so you can see the numbers, okay, going to mark at 20, 40, 60 and 80. Okay, then you're going to rotate your cardboard round and you're going to mark again at 20, 40, 60 and 80. So what do you think we're going to do next? Yep, you guessed it, rotate and mark at 20, 40, 60 and 80, and then finally on the last side 20, 40, 60 and 80. So you have something that's similar, like a dotty piece of cardboard. Now to complete our grid, we're going to join up our lines. So line up your steel rule to your pencil, line it up with the other mark opposite and go across, like so. And then the next one, and that last one. So you have something that looks similar to that. Next, we're going to rotate our piece of cardboard and do the same thing. Join up your marks, using a ruler, create a straight line. Until you've got something like that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. All equal, all the same. Next, we need to grab our initial ideas and have it in front of us. If you missed the initial idea lessons, then you're welcome to follow along with the model that I'm making. So next, we need to mark where our start and our finish point is. So grab your pencil and in one of these edge corners, you're writing your start point. And then anywhere else is where you'll finish. Please follow at least one, you need to follow one of your initial ideas, because the point is we're recreating it, we're building it to see if it would work before we build it with actual materials. So my start square is there, and on my design, my finish is in the middle. Okay, so I've got my start and my finish. Next, you're going to cut out, using scissors, your start square, like so, and then we're going to grab our pencil and we're going to carefully use it making sure that your hands are nowhere near where it's coming out. You're going to use your pencil to slowly stab a hole in it. This represents our finish point, like so. So at this point you should have your start square cut out and a finish point, a hole where your finish point will be. Okay, right, next we're going to make a mark where all our traps are going to be. I'm going to do this using a square across. Okay, so take a moment now and you're going to make a cross mark everywhere you've marked a trap on your initial idea that you're recreating, like so. Make sure you've got at least 5 trap crosses, okay, for your traps. Next, we're going to do the same thing with the pencil, but we're not going to push it all the way through. So for example, you're just going to slightly pierce the cardboard until just the top has come through. This means that the hole will be slightly smaller than the finishing point, so you can recognise the difference. So I want you to take a pencil and lightly make a hole where all your traps are going to be, being careful not to stab yourself or others in the process. By the end of it, you should have something that looks like that, but that represents one of your initial ideas. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to need that piece of cardboard back. I'm getting that piece of cardboard back and our pencil and our ruler. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to cut strips of cardboard to represent our walls. So for the height of the walls, you can realistically do any size. My walls are 10 millimeters high, which equates to 1 centimeter. Okay, so you can either follow that measurement, or you can go slightly higher or slightly smaller. It's your choice. The length, however, has to be specific to your needs, which I'll go on into later. So, easiest way to do this is to probably line up your ruler against that line that you've already cut out, and I mean, it's best to count how many walls you're going to need, but I'm just going to do 7 for now, just to be on the safe side. So I've got my end point at 70, and I'm going to end point at 0, and I'm going to mark every 10 millimeters because that's how high I want my walls to be. So you're welcome to do 10 millimeters, which is 1 centimeter. You can do it a little bit less or a little bit more. The length of your walls is going to be less. The longest your wall is going to be will be 80 millimeters. To be on the safe side, we're going to mark it at 100. So 0 to 100, which should line up perfectly if you're doing it next to it with that line that you've just cut. Go to your end mark, mark 100, and then join up those edge points, like so. Then, along this bottom line, you're going to mark again at every 10 millimeter. So at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then 70 is my edge. If you need more later on, don't worry. I'm just trying to show you how to get this done. So again, we then join up our mark points using our pencil and ruler until you've got something like that. So I've got 7 strips, 10 mil high, 100 mil long. Next, we're going to cut our strips out. So grab your scissors and cut along those lines that you drew, like so. I find it easier to cut out around the whole block before cutting them into strips. Pause the video now while you get your strips ready for the next phase. Okay, so you've got your strips ready. You now need your glue stick, or whatever you're going to be using to stick your things together. You're going to need your maze base with its start square, finish hole and traps, and you're going to need your strips of cardboard to represent your walls. Now the easy way to do this is to look at your initial idea and see what walls you need. So each square represents 20 millimeters. So My first wall, I'll get my pencil, my first wall goes from here all the way to here. So that means it will be 20, 40, 60, 80 millimeters long. So I'm going to grab one of my strips, I'm going to grab my steel rule, and I'm going to measure 80 millimeters from 0. Okay, so 0 is here, and my 80, if you can see it, is here. Okay, so I'm going to measure 80 mil like so, and I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut along that line. Double check. Yeah, that's 80 millimeters. So now we get to attach it to our model. Now please be patient, okay? It will take a while to dry, especially if you're using something like PVA glue. If you're not that patient, I suggest using tape, but it will get a bit sticky. So I'm using a glue stick. It's not the best in the world, but it will do. And I'm just going to rub the glue stick all along the bottom of that wall. I'm then going to place it. I'm double checking with my initial idea. I'm going to place it along the line that I want it to go, like so. Now I'm going to not touch it much because it will fall off while it's still drying. I'm just going to press it down one more time. I might just give it a bit more, because we don't want it falling off while I'm adding the other wall. Okay, so that's my first wall done. Okay, try not to touch it once you're happy with its placement while it's drying, otherwise more often than not you will knock it off. Right, so my next wall is going to come from here to here. So that's 20, 30, 60. So what am I going to do? I'm going to grab my wall, my ruler and my pencil, and I'm going to mark 0 at the edge all the way to 60. Okay, there's 50 there. So this point is 60. Draw a straight line, get my scissors and cut. I'm going to save this and my other piece later, because I could always reuse them if I require a wall that's 20 or 40 mil long. So, oh, touch the wall. See, don't touch it. Now I'm going to glue my wall. Remember guys, we've got tape, then you're going to tape your wall. And I'm also going to do one of the edges. This means I can then stick it against that wall, which will make it a bit more stable. Okay, so now I've got 2 walls. You can see again, my next wall is going to be down to here, so I'm going to do 20, 40, 60. I'm speeding it up now because I'm sure that you understand. Yeah, so there's my 60 wall. Gonna glue, 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 glue. Remember, you're only copying my design if you haven't done an initial idea. Okay, you're meant to be doing one of your own initial ideas, preferably your favourite one, to see if it's still your favourite at the end. Yeah, so I've got my wall like that. Next wall I've got down to here, so that's 20, 40. So I'm going to measure a bit of cardboard strip to 40. Although, yeah, cut it. There we go, 40. My next one is to this point to here, so that's 20, 40. So again, cardboard, measure 40, cut it, glue it, stick it, and then my last one, don't do it with my finger, is here. It's my last one. The last two. I've got 20 here and 20 here. So I'm going to get a piece of cardboard, going to measure it, 20, 20, because I've got two of them. Yeah. Going to cut it. Only had one ready. Cut them both. And glue them. It gets fiddly when they're smaller. Like so. Okay, so while that dries, I'm going to show you on this one. So then you're going to have something that's similar to mine. Once it's dry, you've got all your maze walls, got your grid points, your holes, and your starting square. If you've still got time at the end of the second lesson, you can do the aim higher, which is to add 4 walls to the outside of your maze. Okay, so what I mean by this is, honestly, it doesn't work very well with glue on this one. You might want tape. But I want you to place walls. So they need to be 100mm long. You need to place all 4 of them around the edge. Okay, so I've used glue there, but honestly, I think it'll be much easier for this part to use tape. Like so. Oh, and then obviously tape those corners together. Okay, mine's not very good with the walls. That's why it's an aim higher. It's a bit difficult. If you're able to do this aim higher task and you prove it to your teacher, tell them that I will give you an ePraise point, and then they can send over your name. Okay, so if you're able to attach all 4 walls on the outside, it's an ePraise point from me. Okay, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to email your teacher, either Mr. Kimber or Mr. Thomas, or you're all more than welcome to also email me at Miss Kennel. Okay, my email address is on the normally on the exit quiz slide. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy making your maze. Remember, I hope you took your time doing this. If you've watched the video first, take your time doing it. You've got at least 2 lessons to get this done, and if you do get the 4 walls on the outside, which I do always fail to do, then it's an ePraise point from me. Okay, signing off. Thank you.